Happy Monday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout, which is presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer.
Oh, a change.
I've got Ruby Grapefruit today.
A change.
You know, when were we on last week?
Last Wednesday.
Yeah, so that was last day of Mott's Clamato, Caesar.
Really?
So yeah, now on Feb 1, we switched to the White Claw Hard Seltzer, the hard seltzer that started the wave, made with refreshing real flavors with their iconic taste. White Claw, the difference is clear, Murray. Matt Iwanyk, Murray McCourt from the Ranch Golf and Country Club, as well as the VIP Golf Show coming up in the spring right here at Edmonton Sports Talk. And Zachticum with us until Shawn Belle from Hello Hockey shows up. White Claws are like... These are some of my favorite. So like the seltzers are my favorite golf drink now and stuff. But yeah, these are our new things.
You are now pre-drinking for the airport this afternoon.
This is me being a good representative of a client.
Is that what it is?
Okay. Drinking these White Claws. I'm taking one for the team here, Murray, at 9 in the morning.
You're going to be in Vegas tonight. It's a good. You start now, buddy. Start now.
Yeah, start
You've
early.
never been to Vegas.
I've never been to Vegas. But do you know how busy we're going to be there? Like, and I'm not trying to complain or anything. That's not what this is trying to be. But taking our full shows there, and then we've got this stuff with the airport, YAG, Fly, EIA, Edmonton International Airport. We've got a lot to do. And then the morning show starts at 5 a.m. there, right? Like we lose the hour. But good thing we don't have the drive time, but like we're going to be pretty busy.
It is Vegas. You don't sleep. Especially at your age. When you're my age, you need a little sleep here and there.
I like to sleep, though, Murray.
Well, it's Vegas. Your first time in Vegas, if you sleep, I'm going to be so disappointed in you.
Well, there's going to be a little bit of sleep.
Well,
the's got to be like a nap somewhere here and there.
Maybe in the afternoon.
Yeah, 2 or 3 hours. That's all you need.
Have you ever been to Vegas?
I have never been to Vegas.
How old are you?
That's where I want to go. 20.
Well,
20.
there's no point in going to Vegas. Yeah, wait a little bit. Wait a little bit.
Until you go.
We're planning a trip, me and my boys. So,
are you?
Yeah. We're going to end up going there once I turn 21. My other friends are already 21, so we're going to
And you're a big UFC guy. Would you go with a UFC event? Because they go to Vegas quite a bit, don't they?
Oh, definitely.
They still
I'd
do,
pay an absurd amount of money to try and go see any card there. Any single person fighting, I'd go see it.
They still, on that little strip mall in Vegas, is kind of where they film The Ultimate Fighter. I've driven past that before in Vegas, where you can just... I mean, I would assume you could probably just go in and hang out and watch some of the filming. Maybe I don't check into that. It's right there in Vegas.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, even just seeing the establishments where they fight and stuff would be exciting. Like, there's so much to do in Vegas. Honestly, I don't know what the first thing would be to do.
Well, the first thing we're doing there is actually the first thing I want to do in there, which is the Sphere. I've never had interest in going to Vegas personally. But then I saw the Sphere, and I was like, I really want to go see the Sphere. And we're going tonight to go take a look at what it's like. So I'm excited for that part at the very least, because
we were talking about that last week. And I actually didn't go in the Sphere when I was in Vegas last. But enjoy the walk up to the Sphere. There's so many cool bars, restaurants, shops on that street. It's really unique looking. You'll enjoy the Sphere, I'm sure, but that street walking up to it is a lot of fun.
Here's the thing. Like, I've always been the guy that's just like, Vegas isn't for me. There's other places, things I'd rather go. And it was like, everyone that goes, I've never heard someone really come back outside of making some maybe questionable decisions going, Vegas is terrible. Vegas, like, you never hear that. It's a great time. Everyone I'm talking to is like, you're just going to love it, Matt. You're going to have a great time there. And I'm worried about that. Because especially with these direct flights right to Vegas, how many times am I now going to just want to go to Vegas?
Lots.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's going to be the problem. Is I'm going to keep looking at the flights to Vegas.
Are you a gambler? You are wearing a Cool Bet hat. So
I am wearing a Cool Bet hat. I'm a very responsible gambler, Murray.
So you
I
don't
like
lose.
to gamble. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But because I do enjoy it, I'm very careful with my limits.
So mainly like sports betting, sort of?
I love roulette. I love that. I'm scared to hit a blackjack table. I'm more scared to hit in Vegas because I don't want to ruin the table. Like, I'm scared that I'm going to take the hit when I'm not supposed to, and some guy at the end is going to be really pissed off with me. So I don't play blackjack. But it's one where I like if I go in with like $100, that's it.
Okay.
I'm not going to pull out more. I'm not going to, because I do enjoy doing it. Like, it's fun when you're doing it, but I know that I could get into a really big trouble. So it's like a mix. I'm actually really responsible with it.
Okay, so I absolutely love Vegas.
Yeah.
Love it. I can't even tell you how many times I've been there. Maybe 20, 25 times I've probably been to Vegas. I don't gamble, really. I mean, what I'll do in Vegas is, if I'm there on a Monday night, I'll go bet like a $20 bet on the Monday night football game, go sit in a sports bar, watch the game, and have a little, maybe get a free dinner out of it, or a few drinks, make it a little more exciting, right? That's my extent of gambling in Vegas. I don't drink very much. I drink red wine. That's all I drink. So
there's nothing wrong with that.
But I absolutely love Vegas. There is so much to do there. It is so fun and awesome. Besides the drinking and the partying and the gambling, it's a great place. And the game experience there, I've been to an Oiler game there before, and yeah, it's so fun.
Well, they put on a show in Vegas, and the shows they put on for the Golden Knights every single time during playoffs and everything, it's just amazing, though.
Yeah, you guys are going to have
the game.
That's what Tommy's like, you got to get, we have to get there. Like, we have to make sure. And then the other boys have gone. Dusty and Eric went for McDavid's. Was it his 21st that we sent them for in 1260? I think it was his 21st. So they had gone to a Vegas game. I just haven't, but it was like, you make sure you're there for the pregame entertainment.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
get there to watch that show before puck drop because they do it Vegas style.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I'll warn you about, though, in the stadium, it's U.S. dollars. And so my wife and I, when we were there, it was last year we were there, and we were drinking wine there, and you just kept swiping your credit card
Oh, you
for
got the fees?
glass of wine. And then we get home, and for 2 glasses of wine, when you transfer it into Canadian dollars, it's something like $65 a glass.
Yeah.
So
don't touch the wine, is what I'm being told.
Well,
I like my wine, but I'm not touching it for those prices.
Stick all the other drinks are probably just as expensive and the same too. So maybe pre-drink before the game.
Pre-drink.
Yeah.
So this was at the game you're
At
talking
the
about?
game, yeah.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you
I'm
don't need to
pretty-
buy much for drinks. I mean, you have it in your room. You have little fancy cups. You pour your wine or your beer or whatever
Fair
in your
enough.
cups, and you walk around. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm cheap like that. I don't. If I go to Rogers for a concert or something, I'm really good at not drinking because I don't want to pay those prices.
Yeah, why would
That's
you?
for me. I'd rather just drink ahead of time and just enjoy the show. And yeah, maybe it's like, well, how could you not enjoy this concert with a beer? I'm good because I just don't want to spend that money.
Yeah.
Well, save your money, save your time waiting in line or whatever. You know, there's so many different things to it. That's what I do too. I don't like paying $15 for a beer. Sometimes I might break, you know, if I'm at a game or something and it's so good, it's just like, okay, I might as well. I'm enjoying it.
Enjoy one. But then there's lots of people there to just keep lining up and 2 at a time, and it's like, wow, you got a lot of money.
Yeah, they're paying more for the beer than they are the game.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
In the end, yeah. I'm intrigued to also just see Vegas because it's big for Oiler fans. This is big game tomorrow
Absolutely.
in hockey. But the NFL has now gone to Vegas too this week. There's kind of a big game coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, be a busy
in Vegas.
city.
To see the Vegas Super Bowl week and seeing what's going on, seeing the pictures already coming of Radio Row, and like ESPN will be doing shows from there. All the major players and broadcast are there doing their shows. To see how Vegas has welcomed them and rolled out the welcome mat for them. That's going to be fascinating to watch.
And Edmonton Sports Talk right in the middle of it,
Right
baby.
with all of them. It goes, you know, ESPN NFL Countdown. You got Dan Patrick Show. You got the Nielsen Show of Edmonton Sports Talk.
Absolutely.
In that order.
Yeah.
In that
Right
direct
there.
order.
Same listenership.
Oh, absolutely.
Except Dusty's better looking than all those other guys anyway. So. Okay. All right. That's
Have you seen Dan Orlovsky? Pretty good looking man.
Well, all right. That was my comedy clip from a comedy show I will never get to do in Vegas because I'm not very funny.
I do like a good comedy show. They're a lot of fun.
They are.
They're great to go to. I do. We got to get into this because Shawn Belle's going to come in at some point, and then Zachticum will leave to do some work. We got to go into. You set yourself up for this.
I did.
You brought this up. I left the room before the show started because I needed to go do something, and I just heard Murray say, "I love doing the show because I get to look at Tiger." Because we've got a cutout of Tiger Woods from the old place that just sits in this room for some reason. And then I don't know how you got into telling him this. But what did you tell Murray? Because I learned this on Friday, but I didn't want to tell anyone this.
Well, I kind of just dropped it on him. It's kind of like a confession. I don't know. I was sitting here and...
It's worse than a confession.
Of all the people to tell this to, too, Murray.
We were looking at Tiger Woods, admiring the cutout. He's standing tall in the corner, and I go and say, I don't know what a green jacket is. I didn't. I didn't until last week when you told me.
And I'm like, you're working on a freaking radio station, like, or
sports station,
sports station. And I'm like, my answer was, well, do you know what the Stanley Cup is? And he does. So
you put coffee in it, right?
I don't get it. How do you not know what the green jacket is?
The youth these days, Murray. The youth these days.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I thought the green jacket, is that just the name for a trophy, or is it actually a jacket that you get?
Oh, you still don't even know that
now
part?
I know.
Now you know. Okay.
I've researched
You've researched it. I'm like, say Tiger's laughing at you. It's just a cardboard cutout. You see that big smirk on his face that just came up? Oh my gosh.
Here's the thing about Masters Week. That's all I'll be focused on for the Thursday, Friday while we're here at the office. That's all that's going to matter to me. I don't know how I'm going to do this show. Like, well, I'm going to maybe have to set up a TV somewhere in here so that I can have the Masters running while doing the Hangout for those 2 hours.
Put it right in front of Tiger.
It's going to have to, like, because it's such a prestigious event. And it's just everything around it.
Not in
and
his world, it's not.
Well, he's going to learn. I told him, like, you're going to learn this. Like, that's one.
You're getting your
that's
training
one of those
wheels
events
coming off here.
in sports. That's one of those transcendent events that goes beyond what, like, people. You need to know the Masters.
Yes,
I don't think I don't think there's another one in golf. Like, that's the one in golf. You got to know the Masters.
The one.
Yeah,
100%.
And they get awarded a green jacket afterwards. They're not allowed to, outside of 1 year. The green jacket has to stay at the golf course. It's not allowed to be taken away from the golf course.
Special room where they all are.
Yeah. It's
you go in there and you go to the special room and you get to put your jacket on when you're on property, if you've earned one.
Oh.
Now, did you just learn too that there's this football game on Sunday called the Super Bowl? Have you ever heard of that before?
That, like, it's a big bowl, right? You can put popcorn in it and stuff. Like, I don't know.
Seeing that hat on your head, that reminded me when I was at my Blackhawks were in town against the Oilers. So I was at that game last week, and I saw a couple of random Edmonton Sports Talk hats in the building. I'm like, yeah, I love it. It's always good to see people representing Edmonton Sports Talk.
Still have some hats for sale. Shop EST at the top of EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Just click it up there, and we could work out a way to get you. We've got the curved hats, which Zach's wearing, and then the flat brim hats and stuff. So you can check that out, EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
That was a good little segue. I didn't even know that.
You set me up perfectly for that.
Well done.
I could even take this one step further. That's all thanks to our official merch partner, the Hive Products Marketing, the HiveProductMarketing.com, products that bring the buzz. TheHiveProductMarketing.com. Talk to Chelsea. So there we go. Just the perfect segue.
It's like
for
you knew
all
what you were
that
doing.
stuff.
It was like a tandem.
I got a text from Josh Clausen.
Oh, I got to thank Josh Clausen.
He says, I better hear some lift talk with Murray today.
No, okay, fine.
But I want to. Why are you thanking Josh?
I want to thank Josh. Thank you, because when Josh and I were on the Hangout together last week, and I said we need some snow, we need more moisture.
Oh, you're thanking Josh for this?
Josh Clausen. I mean, he obviously did that. He's responsible for what happened last night, and a little extra exercise with some shoveling. I went and have to help the neighbor who was struggling getting the snow up, so I got some extra exercise this morning, and we got the moisture, some extra moisture. So thank you, Josh Clausen. I know it was all you.
And his rap last week too.
That was kick-ass.
He killed it.
Yeah, that was so good.
Did you prepare a rap for today?
Absolutely not. But get him to text in. I saw on Twitter this morning that a rapper on the Grammys last night wins 3 awards and then gets arrested.
Yes.
What the heck?
The Grammys were interesting yesterday. I don't know if anyone watched the Grammys.
No, absolutely not. I just saw that tweet this morning.
A lot of great performances. Celine Dion came out, which was a big deal because she's dealing with a major disease that, like, it's really hard. It's muscles and like just she loses control of her muscles almost. So she got on stage, and then Taylor Swift almost basically brushed her off, and there's this big controversy now with Taylor Swift basically brushing this icon of Celine Dion off after everything, like after all it took just physically to get up on stage. It's now becoming this big story online. We had some great performances yesterday. I love the Grammys. I don't care about the awards. I love the performances of it all. The reason I don't care about the awards is I'm a rock guy, and like rock has never been given any sort of respect by the Grammys. So like, yeah, she won her 4th album of the year, I think, first person ever to do that. But at the same time, like AC/DC is like 1 Grammy ever, and is from one of their more recent albums. I'm like, yeah, no.
But see, he would probably think that's Akduka. because he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't know all this important stuff like Green Jackets and old rock bands.
Hey, I know old rock music.
Oh, okay. So you would have known AC/DC. Not you wouldn't have called them Actica.
Actica?
No, okay.
No, AC/DC.
Act lightning bolt.
Actica.
Can't
my
forget the
favorite
lightning
brand.
bolt in
I
there.
forgot that lightning bolt.
It's like Metallica. It's my favorite brand of T-shirt.
Metallica.
Yeah.
Well, you're representing Nate.
Oh, right now, yeah. But I see people all the time. I used to be the guy where if I saw somebody wear a band T-shirt, I would press them for it and say, "Hey, could you name 5 songs?" But now it's like they're wearing the shirt, right? Like Metallica. Some people.
So we have a fashion statement.
Yeah, it's a fashion statement. But I used to not like that because I'd like the music, and I'm like, you're disrespecting the band. But
there's so many people that wear like a Nirvana shirt.
Yeah.
That have never listened to Nirvana in their life. It's the same as Jay-Z made the Yankee hat, this popular look. Wow. The guaranteed, I find most people in Edmonton wearing a Yankee hat, unless it's Mark Majot or myself, they're just wearing it for the look.
Yeah,
they're not wearing it because they're true Yankee fans and are excited that Juan Soto was now a New York Yankee this year and going, is he going to turn their fortunes around and finally win a World Series with the Yankees? Like, that's not happening. But
they just going to hand it to the Dodgers, are they not this year? Just here.
That's what's fascinating about this season is that like it should be.
Yeah,
it should with the money they spent with all of that. Now Ohtani's not pitching, but they should now go win the World Series with everything. Absolutely. They brought in Yamamoto. It's like, okay, go do it now.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the watch. Who's going to knock him off? Can someone knock him off?
Well, I mean, you look at other sports teams that loaded up, basketball teams that loaded up, and we talked about it the last couple of weeks on the show where Milwaukee is like the second best team in the league. They just fire their coach with this loaded lineup trying to go for it. I mean, you still got to play the games. You got to have the right. Sorry, Josh Clausen, you got to have some chemistry. And
did you throw in any live golf this weekend at all?
Absolutely not. But because there was no Sunday Pebble Beach yesterday.
And none today either, which really made me sad because I love Monday golf too.
I know. And it would have been fun to see how that would have played itself out with one more round. But there was lots of information out there about live golf on X. You call it X? Twitter. I still call it Twitter.
I still call it Twitter.
So, okay. So the feedback that I was reading from person after person after person after person was the music sucks. They got to get rid of the music because it provides nothing and it takes away from everything. And the team thing sucks and is just distracting, people were saying, and doesn't mean anything. It was just silly. They said that the broadcast was actually really good, lots of shots, and obviously there's some great players playing over there and whatnot. So it was a mixed bag from what I was reading.
So the thing about the music, I agree. Like I still don't like the music during it. It just doesn't fit. I'm watching a late hole or something. I don't need some DJ pumping their bass in all this. It just doesn't fit the feel of golfing. I like golfing that way. I don't want it for my pros though, I guess, if you will. But I guess it's not like that at the course. The TV does not do it proper justice. Apparently, according to all the players and anyone that's covered event, it's much better at the course where you just those holes feel it. The rest of the course, you don't feel it at all. So TV, that's where it's bad. The broadcast was a lot better. Just the announcers and their cutaways and things like that. Last year when I tried watching it, it was just too much cheerleading, just too much. This is the greatest thing ever. Oh, and just really trying to oversell live golf. I felt more that they focused on the golf a lot better and they had right broadcasters, good cuts to the golfers. I don't care about the team thing. I'm with they kept trying to tell me that whatever John Rahm's team is, I can't remember what they are, they're winning, and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
this is an individual event. Maybe they need to separate it where there's of their 20 events this year, whatever it is.
4 of them have the
4 are teams, the rest are individual. I just, it doesn't work to me trying to understand the team part with the individual part, because that's not golf really.
So I saw who won, but who else was up there in contention? Was it close?
Garcia. Well, I went to a 4-hole playoff hole.
Oh, was it 4-hole?
Garcia and Neiman.
Neiman, yeah.
I keep messing his name up. They went to 4 playoff holes.
Okay.
Rahm was just like a shot back or something.
Okay.
It came down right to the end. It was really exciting.
Right.
So I'll give him credit. It was better than I expected. I will go watch a little more, I think, this year.
Wow.
what hurt was there was no Pebble yesterday.
Yes.
I'm watching
because that brought a little extra attention to it. But why is Liv going up against Pebble? Why don't they have Liv?
Because there's always something. In the PGA, there's always something.
Well, not
they're
that
gonna go
big.
Right, but this week you got Waste Management.
Well, yeah, you don't want to do that.
When they're going up against that one too, and it's like, well, I'm taking the Waste Management over Liv.
Absolutely. As you would any big event. You would have been watching, unless your name is Josh Clausen, sorry, Josh, you are going to watch the PGA Tour unless there's a rain out and the PGA Tour isn't playing. That's what you're going to do.
The only way I would have watched Liv yesterday over Pebble is if Pebble had literally no one near the top, and I saw the leaderboard that I saw yesterday of Liv Golf, which was John Rahm was right there, Sergio Garcia was right there, Neiman was right there. Like, it was competitive at the top.
Right. And how about this though? I saw a tweet with John Rahm's first shot on Liv Tour, and he's wearing shorts, and it's like, I don't know.
I ended up liking the shorts yesterday.
The shorts?
I ended up liking it.
They're professional golfers.
I know.
They shouldn't be wearing
There's
shorts.
one thing I didn't like from the Liv, but the technology was really neat. On the green, they showed the path for the putt. And they also showed, I think I got this right, Neiman on 18 to win it and not go to the playoff. They showed where his ball was lined towards, and it was going to be miss. Yeah. And then when he went up, he followed that line that they showed, and he missed. And I was like, well, I don't really want that.
Wow.
I don't want to know that ahead of time.
Yeah.
I want to see his putt.
Right.
Where I'm watching, I'm like, well, he's going to miss this. I take that part out, the projection, and just show me what the path should be. But there was a couple neat technologies that I'll give them. So we'll see how it progresses from here. Wasn't that bad.
What I
give it a shot.
Found, well, what I was following yesterday was not in golf was the Corn Ferry Tour, because Edmontonian Will Bateman, we talked about him.
He had a big day this week, I know for sure.
Yes, so he going into the back nine yesterday, he was one shot out of the lead, and he had a little bit of a rough day yesterday. He made 17 pars, and on hole number 11, he made a triple bogey. So ouch on the triple for Will, but he finished tied for second with two other guys. So that's a great start. If he would have even made a double bogey on that hole, he would have been second by himself. So that cost him $30,000 in money, and then the points to get onto the PGA Tour. So that's more exciting for me to follow a local Edmontonian guy trying to get on the PGA Tour than watching the Liv stuff.
Clausen in the nasty chat. First, you're welcome, Murray. Even on holidays, I'll still take full responsibility credit for the snow. And then adds, the team aspect was great. Legion 13 made all the guys who weren't in contention actually care about their finishes. Huge bounce back from the triple bogey to win. Hernan Salas saying Viva Chile Neiman. He's excited for that. He doesn't care about golf unless it's for Neiman. But here's the thing and I'll counter this to Clausen about the teams where they aren't in contention and have to care about their finishes. On the PGA, you have to care about your finish to make money.
Yes, and to keep your status on the tour.
Absolutely.
And keep your card for the future.
I don't need the team part of it. That doesn't focus on your own game. You're not much of a golfer.
That's what I was just going to say. It's just been a two-person conversation.
Well, so we're going to have to get him to the driving range a few times because he's only been once, he said.
And I had a blast. It was so much fun. Just getting out there, hitting the balls. Okay,
we'll get you a beer and some balls and some clubs, and then you can.
Can I wear shorts?
Absolutely, at the golf. You're not on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, it's basically only a professional thing.
Oh, so
would private clubs be like that too?
No, you can wear shorts.
Yeah,
but, I mean they're pretty strict on. A lot of private clubs are very strict on what you can wear on the golf course in terms of how long the shorts have to be, and
so it's basically only PGA that cares about the shorts.
Yeah.
Okay. Golfers aren't allowed to do it. They've just some of events they've started added where they could wear it in practice rounds.
Oh,
but the actual event they still have to wear their pants.
Yeah, practice rounds I think is fine, but
I'm
old school. I just started wearing because I think club pros shouldn't be wearing shorts either, and I'm old school in that. And on some of those 30-degree days and stuff, I'll wear shorts to work now, which I never would have even 3-4 years ago. So maybe I'm turning a little bit towards that, or if I'm playing golf if it's 30 degrees, I'll wear shorts, but I'm not in a tournament. Lots of guys are wearing shorts in tournaments and our PGA events in Alberta, and I won't do it.
Aren't you a shorts guy?
I love shorts.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not wearing them.
I've got them packed.
Yeah, they're all packed for.
They're packed up for Vegas.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I've got the shirts ready to go. It's like it's a fun weather because I also brought I'm bringing the flip flops, and it's like flip flop shorts, but then like
zero.
hoodie.
Flip flop and shorts above zero.
Yeah, but then it's like a hoodie on the top because it's only like 13 degrees out there.
All right,
but so it'll cool down nicely. So that's
Bellsy's here now. Before we go, Hey, Bellsy,
you'll take that spot
now. Who's going to win tomorrow night? What's going to tell us what's going to happen in the game tomorrow, Bellsy?
In the game tomorrow?
Yeah.
Y'all grab that spot.
17's my lucky number.
17's your lucky number.
Picking the Oilers tomorrow.
Oilers got it. Okay.
Oilers got it. Thanks, Zachticum.
Thank you.
We got Shawn Belle now joining us with his beautiful Hello Hockey little apparel that you got. Gazzola is matching Bellsy here.
That's exactly
Let's go that way.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly what it is.
Bellsy is a lot better looking than Gazzola, though.
Exactly.
The hairs. I have to go low. Tom's is pretty nice.
Yeah, it is pretty high.
When's the last time you grew it out like a lot?
A long time.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I used to do, like when I was younger, I'd go, full afro. I've done dread, like cornrows. I've done.
Oh, yeah?
I've gone blonde.
Blonde?
For playoffs in Tri-City.
Oh, wow.
How is it to do like dreadlocks and like all that? How much work goes into that?
A little bit of work, and it's not fun. It hurts.
No. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, especially when the cornrows, like you get the little hairs in the back of the neck and you start pulling them, they just hurt. So,
I want to see the picture of you blonde.
That's exactly what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah. That happened to me too. I was a GM of a junior hockey team.
8-time champs.
Yeah, for a long time. So one year it was Canada-USA gold medal game from, wasn't it the Olympics or something? I think it might have been the Olympics. We're at my house, all my hockey team's over. Everyone got pretty lit up celebrating because Canada won the gold medal. And
this was for hockey?
Yeah.
So 02.
Canada, US, 02. Okay, so the players all went blonde for playoffs, just like Bellsy did. And so I'm the GM. They decided that they were going to get me blonde. And I'm like, there's no way. Oh, boy.
Can I show that to the screen?
Oh my gosh!
Oh boy is right.
Well, I don't even know if I'd call that blonde.
That's like an orange. It's orange, but my beard was blonde.
It's everything.
Yeah, you can't see that, which is good. So I don't want the viewers to see that.
Yeah.
The best part about it is that we played against Kelowna that year. And I remember our first game in Kelowna, I pull my helmet off and I hear a guy in the stands go, "It's Cisco."
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, okay, here we go.
I'm surprised you have that. That's a long time ago and you still got that on your phone.
Somebody sent that to me the other day, so that's how I have it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I finished how I ended up blonde. I decide, I'd had too much to drink. The players are going to still party and whatever at my house. I went to bed. Then all of a sudden, at some point later, I'm asleep and I get jumped on by half the team.
Oh boy.
And it took a while. It took a good 7, 8 of them to get me held down, but they held me down and I ended up blonde.
So you got a picture you want to show us that we can show us?
No, not on my phone I don't, but boy, and then because I've got dark skin too and everything, and so people at the golf course the next day or whatever, people come out and see me and they're just like, what the hell is this? And yeah, it's not a good look for me either.
I think I did frosted tips for a little bit. I had or streaks in my hair. I had streaks. That's the most I've gone blonde.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I won't do it.
Just young and dumb.
Yeah. I didn't really want
Is that still a thing though? Are junior hockey teams still going blonde?
They don't
for
do it
playoffs?
as much. They do the mullet thing now.
Well, that takes a long time to grow
mullets and
I'm not big on the mullet look.
Either
not gonna lie.
There's a couple guys on our team that got them. They have the mullets and then they put perms in. I'm like, oh my god.
On purpose?
On purpose.
This is on purpose.
Oh, on purpose. Yeah. I'm like, guys, you realize that if we take a picture that lasts on the internet forever.
Well, so does your orange hair last
That's
forever,
not on the internet.
Well,
that's only on my phone.
It's kind of on the internet. Just very hard to see.
Luckily, you couldn't see that. So that'll last forever. Last a lifetime.
I could imagine growing up in full internet era.
No kidding.
Where your parents are putting all your pictures up from birth.
Yep.
And everything that you have, it's just on the internet. No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't
need
need that.
No.
You don't need that.
Yeah, some of those pictures you look at, and you look at your parents and go, "You bought me clothes like that? What is wrong with you?" But our kids are probably going to look at us someday and say,
Do the same thing.
Like, what the heck were you guys thinking? Why are you dressing me like that? And we're like, huh.
Yeah, it's weird. As you get older, you realize everything you were told was right by the parents and adults. Like various things, like you're you got to do this. Nah, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm good, and then you get there. I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm an idiot. And we all learn that. Like we all go through that.
Velour shirts. Do you like
the velour shirts? Yeah, the whole the sweatsuits.
That is just gross.
Tearaway pants.
Tearaway pants.
I think they're starting to make a comeback.
Come on.
We've heard somebody say that they're starting to make a comeback. We looked into seeing if we could get EST tearaway pants.
Oh no.
I was sitting down with Chelsea from the Hive, and we were planning our initial stuff, and we were talking about that. I was like, "Do you have tearaways?" And she just quickly looked. She's like, "I don't have anything right now." But she's like, "I could go take a deeper look." I was like, "Okay, I'm okay right now."
But they're just going to unveil them for the EST. Any kind of tournaments that are coming out? Is there anything? I don't know.
Hockey tournaments?
Yeah, hockey.
Not hockey tournaments.
No, any tournaments?
We got something that I could talk to you about off the air right now.
I know, but do you think that would be the day that you would unveil the tearaways?
That's a really good question.
So, right, like you think about it, like you come out, like all of a sudden this goes off, you show up to this whatever, and then the first time people see it, just boom, tearaways.
How about on the airplane tonight at the when you're hopping on the plane to go to Vegas? Get a video of all
me,
four
Dustin,
of you
and
guys.
Eric just quickly rip off tearaways.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
Or or we get them out for like an Oilers playoff push.
You could do that too.
Support the Oilers with the tearaways.
Well, the key is what you have under those tearaways.
Well, that's really important.
Which actually works out very nice because Dusty and Eric, for a long time when we first started, wanted the EST. No, they wanted the
EST Speedos
thongs, or was that the Pro-Am thongs?
No.
That was going to turn into the EST thongs.
Could you imagine these four in Vegas with the tearaways and then all of a sudden EST thongs?
This all works so perfectly.
Or Speedos.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, I need to get like EST like Jordans or something.
Yeah, you could
custom
do that.
Jordans or something.
In a thong Speedo.
It was just all. I'm like we're working around. We're gonna get socks.
Yeah.
We need to get Hangout, not EST Hangout socks specific, because then it's the one show that they could kind of be seen. So we'll get EST Hangout socks with EST Nikes, EST thongs, EST tearaways.
I'm just having a nightmare daydream right now of Dustin Nielsen in a freaking thong Speedo. I'm like, no, get that thought out of my mind right now. Come on.
That'll be the image on the website too.
As long as it's not a white one.
We'll model it all too for the website, so that when you go shopping,
they're gonna make a calendar.
I'm thinking
the EST calendar.
I just have envisionments of Dusty.
People will pay us to just burn them. I don't want the calendar. Please keep it.
Please save that.
I don't want anyone else to have this.
I just envisioned Dusty with a big hairy ass and this thong, and I'm just like, I just can't get this out of my mind right now.
It's gonna be great.
If it's like that, it's not
just
great.
have Tommy on there. In the end, it's just going to be Tommy, and we will sell a bunch of them.
Wow,
no, that's good.
It's gonna be the hottest thing. Yeah, it's gonna be the EST one, and we'll all take pictures. But we're like, don't worry, Tom, we'll all be in it. It's just gonna be Tommy.
You'll have Eric with his hair coming down, covering his nipples.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, we can go so many places with this. Microphones tastefully positioned. He doesn't like this.
No, I just can't get
this right now.
I just cannot get this thought of Dustin out of my mind right now. I just like, this is just terrible.
Oh man, that's great.
Let's change the subject. I got to get a good thought. Oh, how was Hello Hockey on Saturday?
This weekend it was great. The weekend before it was spicy. Oh yeah, no, it was good. Hello Hockey was really good. It was on location at local.
Oh, good.
We had Chuck Weber. He was on as one of the guests. Chuck Weber is the assistant coach for RPI, and he's also assistant coach for Great Britain. So he actually left today. He's leaving today to do the Olympic qualifiers.
Huh?
So yeah, it was a pretty good episode.
That's awesome. Yeah. And on location, those are always fun to do it on location.
Yeah, they're pretty fun. Yeah. It's better now that we do it at 10 to noon. When we were on TSN, it was 9 to 11. So you go into local, it's still dead. Like it doesn't open for at least an hour. At least now, like when you start the show, it's open. People are there. They can kind of hear what's going on. So it's a better vibe.
We were 9 to 11 at 1260.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah,
I still can't get this out of my mind. Does Dustin Nielsen have a Nielsen Show tattoo on one butt cheek and like a?
Oh, you're taking this further.
I know.
Yeah, now
like,
you can't blame us. If we keep this going, that's on you because you've gone back to this.
My mind.
No, somebody does want an EST tattoo though. I don't know what's happening with that. We had one guy like a couple months ago reach out saying in like the New Year he wanted to get an EST tattooed on him.
Well,
the logo.
That is a nasty. He's a.
What we'll do for Dusty is we'll just get the. I don't think he'll do an actual one. We could get the temporary one done, just for the picture.
Just on the one cheek.
And we'll get it signed and sent to you. I know, it's a perfect Christmas present for you now, Murray. Like, you're setting this up perfectly for
100%.
us. We're just going to send you photos of Dusty in his EST Speedo, signed with tattoos, just for you.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, the EST calendar, but everyone else will get just Gazzola, and
you'll get the Dusty one.
You'll get all Dusty.
Yeah.
Man.
With the one shot of Eric.
Oiled up Dusty.
Oh, my God.
Actually, can we borrow your course for a photo?
Oh.
We'll put him on one of your holes.
The Elks cheer team one year did a photo shoot for their calendar at my golf course. And, I don't know how I got sucked into this, but those big silver things that you got to hold up for the lighting and everything like that?
You were holding it?
I got sucked into doing that. And I'm just like, damn. That was a good day at the office.
They must have had to really twist your rubber arm on that one. Hey,
they did. And
did you have to shut your course for that?
No,
or did they do
we were
work around
there was
golfers?
a few places like if you snap hook one on number 10, there's that big old rustic barn there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we were upstairs in that barn, and there was a girl not wearing very much clothes, and I'm just doing this with the light, and it's just it was a good day.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Not as good as when you get that Dusty calendar, though. You could help with the photos. Since you have experience, you could hold that while Dusty's taking his pictures.
Only with Elks cheerleaders, that's
We'll
only, nope.
You just told us you have none of us have the experience to do this.
This reminds me of Dumb and Dumber when the bus goes rolling down the road. They stop and they're like, "Hey, can you be the oil voice?" Yeah, if you go down the road to the next town, there might be some more people down there. Wait a second. Same situation's happening right now. Yeah. You're the most experienced guy.
Yeah. Trevor's going to take pictures, so we don't have to hire a cameraman. He'll do it, but then he needs someone to do that for him.
But I had to listen to the cameraman. The cameraman had to, hey, no, move it over here now.
That's
move it
fine.
Over here. I just listened.
So, but you have the experience of how to hold it. I don't know how to hold this thing. You do. So you'll have to do it.
Oh, my gosh.
You shouldn't have told us that.
No.
Now we're setting you up for this.
You're definitely up.
And we'll do it at the ranch because it's convenient for you.
I'm going to be sick that day. Calling in sick.
You're the one that got back to this. Hey, you brought back this subject.
Do we not have at EST the intern right now? Or
you want a subject to the intern? I don't need Nate coming at me.
Yeah, listen.
I don't need Nate coming at me because Zachticum is having to deal with the half-naked Dusty taking photos.
I don't.
He hasn't heard it. He just walked in, so he has no idea what we're talking about.
I don't have any pull on EST, but I think, the guy at the bottom of the totem pole should get that job.
But I want to make sure this is done right, and we need the experience, right? Like, if I'm planning an EST hockey team, I'm going to go to Shawn and be like, "Hey, I need you on the team because you've played." Here, we're taking
I'm
photos.
The champion GM.
Absolutely. So we need you to help build this team with us. But now, when it comes to photography, we have a guy here who knows how to take pictures. We have someone here that knows how to hold the lighting thing. We got to rely on what we know.
Oh boy,
100%. We're all part of the team.
Exactly.
All right,
we're all the wheel on the.
Everyone's got
we're
a
all
job.
spoke on the wheel.
Oh boy.
Is going to the BCHL right away?
Oh, you want to get in this right now?
Yeah, well, because this is the big thing. Is now that they've left, they've gone. Because in one way, I don't know how this was going to have happened any other way this season. I don't see. I do get the point of the AJHL going, we can't allow these teams to play the other team. I do understand that point.
Why?
Because they're leaving you. I do get the.
Yeah, but teams in the NCAA do that. The teams in the Pac-12 did that, and they said at the start of the year, "Hey, we're leaving."
Yeah, but everyone left.
Yes, Pac-12. Yeah, fair enough. But SEC was like, okay, yeah, you guys are joining us. It's no different
because that happens because of the TV money that is locked in, that they can't leave. Like, right, like, so it can't go. Like, so I do though see somewhat of the point of the AJ of going like, well, we don't want our last championship to be given to
the Brooks.
That's the only thing and the only
away.
reason why I see it, and I agree with that. Like, they don't want the Brooks Bandits to win it and walk away, just like you mentioned.
But I also then understand why the teams would be like, well, we need to play hockey. We're not going to not play this year.
Those kids need to play hockey.
These kids
The
didn't
biggest
make
thing
this
is
decision, and they need to go play. So, like, it makes sense to now just go and do this.
May 1st is your declaration day.
Yeah.
So last May 1st, those teams said we're declaring for the entirety of the season.
Oh, so there's a date like of declaring for the next year.
Declaration day.
Okay.
And you have to go into whatever meeting and you have to declare that you're going to be back. So all those teams declared that they were going to be back. It's not like they said, oh, well, maybe. No, they declared, they paid their entire fees, all their dues for the entirety of the season. They did nothing wrong.
Are they getting reimbursed for the rest of the season?
There's going to be some legal ramifications.
Like if you're letting them, if you're saying you can't play hockey here, basically, which they never fully did say, but they basically implied it that right now that they're not going to let them play. Then I think there is a fee that has to be given back to the clubs.
So what they said was like, you guys can play, but it's going to be just against those 5 teams. And so you sit there and you say, okay, well, sure, this makes sense. But Spruce Grove at the time had 0 games. I think Blackfalds had 3. Sherwood Park had 3 to 5. I can't remember the exact numbers. So you're like, okay, Spruce Grove's just done. They don't get to play anymore. So we can't play in the league, but now we don't get an opportunity to play against each other. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So, the way that the AJ handled that whole ordeal to me was a little bit crazy, because at no point has anybody talked about the 11 other teams. Like, there's other teams, guys.
Well, I was going to say, that was actually going to be one of my, like, are we going to see more of these AJ teams defect line and leave to the BCHL? Like, does this, if you're an AJHL team, would you not want to now? Because you've lost Brooks, you've lost the Edmonton area. Like, does it not make sense now to just be like, hey, let's be a united front?
Yeah, you should.
Join together, be with the BCHL, Hello Hockey, or not Hello Hockey, Hockey Canada did this. We're off.
I know for a fact that there's 3 to 5 teams that have already made the same call.
Was it after these 5 teams? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is what I'm unclear of, though. What's the reason why these teams left?
The reason, yeah. So great question. So I've spent time with Sherwood Park as an assistant coach, and I also spent time with Spruce Grove, an assistant coach. So pre this move, obviously, and before the BCHL made their move, you get all these players that get committed to the NCAA. You put time, effort, resources into those players. And what they would do is that they would just end up leaving to go to the USHL. And when they left to go to the USHL, because they wanted to prepare to play NCAA, hockey the following season or 2 seasons from then, you wouldn't get any money, you wouldn't get any transfer fee for that player.
Right.
So now you've just lost all of your, everything that you've done for 2 years, 3 years. So this past season with Spruce Grove, they lost Liam Watson to the USHL. The year before that, they lost Jaden Davis to the USHL. They lost Morgan Brady to Langley, and they lost Carter Oakenfold to West Kelowna. So that's 4 players that you put tons of time in, resources. They're really good hockey players. Spruce Grove is an 11th place team. You add those 4 players to your team, well, you might not be 11th place anymore. You might be somewhere in the top, I don't know,
where they've been for a decade.
100%.
Yeah. And Sherwood Park just lost their best player early January, went to the USHL. Is that not right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you put this time in with these players, and then you get absolutely nothing out of it. So the whole thought is when the BC first left was that, hey, we're gonna leave, Hockey Canada as well, because we want to keep those players in Canada. So whether you sit there and you argue, well, they have a lot of American players or European players or out of province players, those top high-end players are in Canada now. And they're playing in the BCHL with a mix of American players, with a mix of European players. So the league actually becomes better. So now your Brooks, who gets a lot of players from out of province, from out of country, they have to pay a transfer fee every single time for those players. but then they don't get money when that player leaves. So why spend all that money when you don't have to, and you can still have the exact same team, which actually then saves you money?
But so the BCHL teams, if one of their players decides he wants to go to the USHL,
he'll never leave now, though, because now the league in the BCHL is actually a lot better, and it's closer to that USHL than ever before. So now you kept the best players in Canada, and those best players aren't now leaving to go to the USHL. So in essence, it actually helps that league. It helps players that are Canadian-born stay in Canada. And whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, that's the whole reason and thought process around why they decided to go independent, is because they're like, well, this isn't helping anybody in Canada. We consistently lose our best players.
Why hasn't Hockey Canada done anything about this earlier?
I don't know. Because they have a good partnership with the CHL. So it doesn't matter as much.
Oh, okay. They're worried about that level.
Right, but
and there's nothing wrong with that. But
a player could leave Spruce Grove and go play in the WHL.
Very rare, though.
Right, because if you're choosing the AJ route, you're going scholarship route.
Yeah.
So because Hockey Canada has everyone carded, you can't move from an AJ team to a former BCJ, go SJ team or MJ team without a trade and a transfer of assets.
Yes.
But with BCHL, not part of Hockey Canada, they don't fall into that. But so I still don't get why a player just can't say, I'm out. I don't want to be here. I say he doesn't even get along with a coach or something like that. Why
he 100% can.
Right.
But now the question is, okay, where are you going to go? Right. So the whole way it works is that at a U18 level, you have to have finished your last year or your last season at the U18 level to be able to then qualify to move across the border. Right. So if I'm Morgan Brady, right, who was one of the best players, he was a 16-year-old in Spruce. He's obviously 17-year-old East season this year.
And where is he playing now?
He's now in Langley, so he was with Spruce. So in actuality, he can't cross that border to go play in the BCHL under previous Hockey Canada rules until he has finished his last season of U18 hockey. So when you have, certain players that are high end and they're now sitting here in Alberta and they're playing for the Drayton Valley Thunder and the USHL comes calling,
they're going
because you can't go to the BCHL unless I think there's within your contract, you can't get traded at X amount of years until basically you're 18, and then you can go. So those are factors as well. So there's lots of little details that kind of surround the whole thing where it's we are losing all of our Canadian talent and they're going to the US. They're not staying in Canada. And therefore now when you look at the AJ, and we talked about this on Hello Hockey, we've had multiple coaches, AJ coaches come on and they're like, okay, well, Fort Mac used to be one of the best spots in the AJHL. But they can't recruit any players anymore because more players have, I guess, powers and freedoms, and they want to go to Sherwood Park, they want to go to Spruce Grove, they want to go to Blackfalds, they want to go to Okotoks, they want to go to Brooks. But now Fort Mac can't recruit half as much because Alberta kids don't even want to go there.
Because it's Fort Mac.
Because it's Fort Mac.
And you're on a bus all the time.
But then Ontario kids are like, well, yeah, no, we want to come. And so then they go pick up the Ontario kid, and now he's there. And so an Alberta kid falls through the cracks. And then as you kind of go through the entirety of the AJ, this is happening more and more. It's happened in Bonnyville quite a bit. They go after Quebec kids. Drayton Valley at one point was going heavy after American kids.
Whitecourt was getting Quebec kids.
Yep, exactly, with Joey Bouchard. Drayton Valley, like I just mentioned, Olds went hard at American kids. So now you're sitting there saying, well, what about all these Alberta kids? So now that the BCHL is, taken off and it's thrived and they're keeping more kids from Canada in their system while mixing more American kids in, I'm sitting there as the agent and I can say, well, you know what? We can still have a really good brand of hockey with the 11 teams. Let's focus more on Alberta kids now. That's the solution. You take your 11 teams, maybe you cut one, and now you have a higher level of hockey because it's not as...
So you're saying not join the BCHL, though?
Well, you keep those 5 teams. You let them go.
Yeah.
They're done.
Yeah, well, they're there.
But the remaining 11, I'm saying, why don't you make a commitment to those 11? Because if you look at those 11, there's probably 5 that have had shaky ownership, that consistently are changing coaches, consistently the bottom end teams.
It's money. They don't have money.
100%. So let's try to get them to a situation where they're whole and they're stable and they're good. But now we just go focus on all these Alberta players.
But if teams are already talking about going to BCHL, isn't that it though?
Well, that's because the AJHL in the last whatever amount of years has always catered to those bottom end teams. So they switched the schedule, right? Instead of being north versus south, they went to a fully integrated schedule where it's equal games for each team. And Canmore basically was like, well, we can't do this because it's going to cost us, I think it was like $60,000. It wasn't even that much. So then they had to call upon the city to help them raise more money. Okay, well, $60,000 shouldn't be the be all end all for you.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be
something. You're in big problems then as a franchise.
So like, okay, well, what about all the money and the resources and development fees that you're trying to help your kids with? Well, the big 5 that just left, they're the teams that consistently are good. Why? Because they put the most money into it. They put the most resources into it. They have the most coaches. They have everything. But then you cater to the bottom 5 that are consistently having issues. And so that's why there's more teams being like, well, wait a second. We want to keep our players too. Like Camrose, they got pillaged in January. I think 4 of their best players just picked up and left and went to the BCHL. Because they wanted to play in a better league.
Well, I would say of those 11 teams left, with Spruce and Sherwood Park gone, there'd be opportunity for Fort Saskatchewan to resurrect themselves, or maybe a team right in Edmonton and make that a 12-team league.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Would the AJ look at just now trying to counter a little bit and go,
But
we'll target the Edmonton area.
But
it hasn't worked.
That's my point. But why? So why do that? Right? Like, because there is rumors out there that Wainwright, St. Albert, Fort Saskatchewan, Leduc.
Wainwright's had a great junior B program for a lot of years. It could easily just step up into a junior A
100%
program.
So if you went to 12, to me, you could make a really good league because there's a lot of talent in Alberta that falls through the cracks.
Yeah,
lots.
But you want those players have to want to play in it. That's the other thing too.
Now they do. Because now they're like, oh, wait a second.
So now these 5 teams go join BC. Now, I mean, you obviously know way more than me, but Spruce Grove is loaded. They have a lot of money. Blackfalds has a lot of money. Other teams don't necessarily.
Okotoks is community owned.
Yeah.
But I heard that they were going to get a private owner.
Brooks, I'm assuming, does well.
Brooks does
used
well.
to, but I've heard that their corporate sponsorship has backed off a lot in the last couple of years. But I mean, they're still doing well. But now you join this league though, and now you're going to travel to BC, and like you talk about.
Well, then that's
but you're not actually traveling as much to BC as you would think. You're actually playing in the Alberta division. So as far as you'll go is Cranbrook.
This year alone, it is just going to be the rest of the year. Those 5 teams are playing each other. Winner of the 5 Alberta teams will take on the winner of the BCHL.
Yeah, so
but then moving forward,
Cranbrook will now be in that division.
Okay.
Right? So now you've got your division of 6.
We're Mountain Time Zone 2, I think.
Yeah.
It's even Time Zone 1.
Yeah, so you'll have your division of 6. You'll play most of your games there, and then you might play a couple one-offs versus the interior, maybe the coastal, whatever else there is. So you won't get as many.
Like the Brooks of the world, I don't know how much more of a travel will be to the interior, let's say, than Fort
Mac and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That part, like
fair.
going all the way up there would be, I would have to think, pretty similar.
Yeah, but you get off
the Sherwood Park team, and Spruce, a little more to get into the BC area.
Yeah. But you look at the dollars and cents of all that, and the boredom of if you're playing basically 5 teams all the time. Like
but okay, so now here's a question, right? And this is what kind of got presented to me. It's like, okay, so people are saying, well, Sherwood Park has been in the AJ for 50 years. Okay, that's great. But I know for a fact, because I coach there, on a Tuesday night against Drayton Valley, there's nobody coming anyway. But maybe now on a Tuesday night versus Penticton.
Yeah.
Right? That's
or even Brooks.
The highly touted Penticton V's are coming to town. I'm going to go watch that game.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Brooks comes more often. Oh, I'm going to watch that game because those are really good games.
Rivalry with Spruce Grove will always be there.
Yeah.
And that's a good point. But And then the other piece to that too, for the other 11 teams, why are you going to go on a Tuesday night when it's -20 to watch the Olds Grizzlies get shit stomped by the Brooks Bandits? Because they're not going to win before you even show up. So why even bother wasting your time?
And people won't do that. Now you got games that are
going to be more competitive. Look, you're not going to see Cale McCarr wander through, but you're going to still see some pretty competitive.
There's some legitimate talent out there in that BC league. I know, I pay attention to West Kelowna because I had a player that actually is playing there. He played for me last year. He's now with West K. And these guys aren't even trying to recruit, and they're still getting high end players. Like West K just picked up a guy that was, I think, a Buffalo Sabres draft pick, maybe 56th overall, and he just waltzed into that program. This is what's going on, and the fact that they're able to just say, "Oh, Camrose, I like that player. We're going to go after him."
Yeah,
you don't want that, and that's exactly what the USHL did to these guys for years. So now you've got a very high-end product in Canada under the BCHL. You've got the opportunity for Alberta Junior Hockey League to, commit to those 11 programs, or 12 if you want, and make a really strong league. You got the KI that's elevated their level because they're now Junior A.
But so they've got
but they've elevated their level, so they might get some players. They can focus on more of those, second-tier BC players. And now you've got the KI, you've got the AJ, you've got the SJ, you've got the MJ, all on equal footing, and you can still have your Centennial Cup, and it's perfectly fine. Now what you've done is you've actually given more opportunity to kids to play. Because if you really think about that, it's well, here's my elite NCAA stream. Here's my elite straight to pro path with the CHL. Here's my secondary leagues that can still go and filter into, to the CIS, to the ACAC, to the NCAA Div 3, to the NCAA Div 1. If there's guys that don't want to go to the BC, you're giving more opportunities to more kids. To me, that's, I think, what we're all kind of talking about. And that's why this is such a hot button issue, because they felt like these 5 teams leaving, you're actually robbing kids of opportunities, but you're not. Because if you actually focus on the rest of those teams and you build something good, well, now more Alberta talent gets an opportunity to play, to continue doing their thing, because there's a lot of late bloomers out there. Mm-hmm. So why do they need to now make a life-changing decision at 18 or 20? They're still in the sport. They're still playing. They still have the opportunity to play junior. Here we are.
So would it make sense I'll just use 3 teams in the same. Spruce Grove is going to be in the BCHL. Yep. Drayton Valley Thunder, 40 minutes away, 30 minutes away in the AJ. Mm-hmm. Spruce Grove Regals have a junior B program. Mm-hmm. So would it not make sense for those 3 organizations to kind of almost work together? So, the bottom end guys for the Spruce Grove Saints could then, that don't make their team, they could go down to Drayton Valley.
Almost like a filter system, like a feeder system.
Right. And so, if those guys really elevate their game and whatnot, and they improve with Drayton Valley, they could bump themselves back up to play for Spruce Grove. And then the same way, take the Regals into that. They get the bottom end players out of Drayton Valley, go play there. If they elevate themselves, and they can bump themselves up and go up a level, and
which would be like a fully integrated model, kind of like a European situation.
I envision
in theory, that sounds
making
wonderful.
Sense. Yeah,
in theory, that sounds wonderful. Actually, in theory, that's kind of what the JPHL is doing with the BC now. Mm-hmm. You have basically U13 or U14, 15, 17, 18. You've got now to the BCHL. It's almost a fully integrated model. Now, you don't need to go to the JPHL to be part of that. But the point is and what I think you're making is that there should be a way for all the adults in the room to sit down and say, let's find a way to really fully integrate this so that we can make the best system
work
for
together.
Everybody.
Right.
But you need Hockey Canada to come to the table for that, right?
100%. And that's the biggest problem.
Have they at all opened any willingness to talk even?
I've personally had meetings with some Hockey Canada executives, and they were about a 10-minute meeting, and it was like, we can't do much unless the branches want it. Then you go try to talk to the branches, and they don't want to even remotely open the door for you. they will not meet with you. And so you're kind of in this situation where it's like, hey guys, like if you really thought about what we're here for and why we're doing it, like we're more in line than you actually think. We just want kids to play hockey, and that's literally what this whole thing's about. It's for kids to play hockey and more kids to have opportunities to play. And unfortunately, what's happened in the last 7 years, 8 years, is that the money in hockey has skyrocketed. So what's happened, and whether that is right, wrong, or indifferent is a whole nother conversation, but money has skyrocketed. Less families have an opportunity to play hockey. So how do we fix that? How do we change that? How do we get more people doing that? That's what Hockey Canada's statement is. That's what their mission statement is. That's what their mantra is. Unfortunately, here in Edmonton, you got the Northeast zone, Northeast area of the city, that is a lot of new immigrants. They're not playing hockey. Well, yeah, because it's too expensive.
Yeah.
So how do we integrate them? Those are big issues. Those are hot button issues, but nobody's willing to talk about it because everybody's still fighting about, well, the A5 teams left the AJ. Okay, they'd left the AJ. Let them leave. Let them do what they want to do for their reasons. Now let's figure out a way to make hockey better as a whole, because at the end of the day, Sweden has the most players going into professional hockey per capita. The USA development program is better than it's ever been. And if you want to use the World Juniors as a litmus test for where your program's at, ours isn't very good then.
Well,
even
hey,
just
we
go
won last year. I mean, it's one. We had one down year this year.
I agree.
I will say this, that like it's also just, it's just one position, but goaltending, we're looking at big events coming up for Canada. We're going, who's the goalie for Canada? We have not developed goaltending in this country strong enough. We know registration is down in this country when it comes to hockey. Like there's a lot of knocks on it, and you don't feel those effects tomorrow.
Correct.
Those effects come many years down the line, and you don't want to get to a point where you're sitting there going, oh, how do we screw this up completely?
Yeah.
Because then to fix it, it's many years down the line to fully fix it, because you put the new rules in place or whatever it is, but it takes time to catch up to see the results of those. But does this kind of not all come down to, though, what happens in Ontario and Quebec? Like if Ontario trying to do what the BCHL is doing or something, then Hockey Canada would care?
That's a loaded question.
It is a very loaded question. Do I answer that truthfully, or
well, what would like them or Quebec? Like,
okay,
does Hockey Canada mostly care about them?
Let me say this then. I would not be surprised if there was a league in Ontario that decided to leave.
And then that would force, I feel like if something like that happened, then Hockey Canada would be forced to have to do something. Because the GTA, if you're dealing with anything in the GTA area, that matters big for Hockey Canada, I would have to think.
I stand by my statement.
It'd be one where, like, for them, there's no coming back from that. Like, you can't be the governing body if you've lost part of the GTA type thing. And so it's wild times hockey in this country.
It's we're in the midst of a change in hockey. And I just think you need to have more kids being able to play. And it can't become an elitist sport because the money is too much. That's why basketball thrives across the world. That's why soccer thrives across the world. And even that's why football thrives across the world, because all you need to do is pick up a ball and you can play the sport. And unfortunately for us, it's, yes, there's more things that you need to play the sport, but does it have do we have to have in Western Canada something that costs you $17,000 to $70,000?
That's insane.
It's insane.
So just quick, somebody then asked you, I just want to confirm this because maybe you'll know a little better.
Yeah.
Someone just saying Spruce Grove will play to the Silent Ice rink in Nisku. Spruce Grove, they've got a new deal, right, for building a new rink in Spruce?
Yeah. Everybody says that.
No, they're rebuilding one.
Spruce has got another one coming.
Yeah, because there's talk and that's now,
that's for them.
Silent Ice and the city have come together on an agreement. That's out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's them. Everybody looks at that Silent Ice arena down in Nisku and they're like, oh, that's junior. No, it's not.
Yeah, and
nothing's happening
and
there
I just want to confirm
all the programs that Silent Ice owns is going to run out of there. Yeah. So
and there's a new rink coming to Spruce Grove.
Yeah.
I thought I saw something with the city and Silent Ice coming out and saying we're working on something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just got to go back to
by the way, this is the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. Matt Iwanyk, McCourt, Shawn Belle with you here on Edmonton Sports Talk.
The way it's going to be looking like it's set up right now, if a great player on the Camrose Kodiaks next year he develops and all of a sudden, man, I'm doing really good. He can still walk away and go play for Spruce Grove, and there's no ramifications
100%.
whatsoever. Yeah.
But BCHL player can't come to the other way because Hockey Canada
Hockey Canada has said that at a certain date you are not allowed to come back into our
January 10th. But so on January 9th.
No, it was the cutoff date was September 30th. That's what it was.
And the BCHL is saying we don't care.
Yeah.
So
but what happened was because the 5 teams left, Hockey Canada opened up again, and they said if anybody wants to leave those programs to come back into a sanctioned team, you have until X date to do that. And nobody left.
I was just saying, did anyone come?
Sorry, but
nobody left.
Hey, the door's open. Yeah. We're good.
See ya. Thank you.
We're good. There's a party going on. We're okay.
Yeah, we're good.
But you only dress 20 guys a night, and if
that's damning.
If Spruce Grove goes out and plucks this player, this player, this player,
you can
and this
only
player,
you have a certain roster size. I think the roster size in the BC is 26.
Okay.
So you can't actually go out and now recruit more than that 26.
Right.
Now, whether teams will actually want to go up to 26 is a whole different story, because I know there's teams that are at 23. I know that West K is at 25. So they have the opportunity to do stuff, but now that becomes just an organizational theory or whatever you want it to be, and saying, okay, well, we believe that we can have 26. Well, no, we want to make sure that more guys have opportunities to play,
right.
and we'll
That's
send the bottom end guys, right?
Right. So that if you're the 26th guy on a roster and you're the 9th defenseman, you need a lot of injuries to even step foot on the ice. So why in the world do you want to be there? You want to go down a level and play.
Exactly. So that's where the affiliation piece comes in.
That's what I was talking about before. Where
exactly.
you can, that would make so much sense.
So
to
now,
be able to do
our
that.
league and the JPHL is actually affiliated with the BC. So now, if there's players like from Spruce Grove or Sherwood Park or Blackfalds, they get pushed to us now, which makes our league stronger. We now have the affiliation, and the other piece of that is universal affiliation, where it means like I'm not committed to Spruce Grove, I'm not committed to Sherwood Park. It means that I can play one game for them, I can play one game for them, I can play one game here, because now you have more looks, more opportunities with different programs. So that integration has already happened. But what would be really good is if you had the opportunity to do that with your provincial programs as well, so that we could send players to Camrose as well, so we get more kids opportunities.
But the other piece to that I still just don't have my head wrapped around yet is if a team only does have 22 guys on their roster, and then they go out and pluck 3 guys, then bring them in, whatever, in January, and you go from number 22 on the roster to number 26 on the roster, you don't want to stay there anymore. So you want to leave.
But that becomes doesn't that become just a hockey issue? Because that happens at the CHL level anyway. It happens across hockey landscape.
But so long as too, like NCAA,
Yeah.
if I'm a college football player and I've committed to a school and I've played a year, and all of a sudden they go and grab somebody from the transfer portal, I'm going, well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So that's more of a sport thing. That's
Sure,
you can't get around that.
But in their Hockey Canada, if it happens before January 10th, then you can go back and play at Junior B, or you could go back and play at whatever. I mean, there's opportunities for you to go play if you were to choose to leave or get cut or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a sport thing. And now this is professional, this isn't developing kids, but the Oilers could go make a trade for someone, and all of a sudden it bumps someone down the lineup, and it's just, well, that's too bad.
Well, but they have a place to go play because they go to Bakersfield.
But they might be in the press box now. The Oilers might say, no, you've gone from being the 12th forward to your press box for now, and that's just, you better hope someone gets hurt if you want to get in the lineup type thing, but also don't hope that because we don't want a player hurt, type thing. So
I mean, that exact scenario just happened. Oilers get Corey Perry.
Yep.
Sam Gagné is sitting in the press box.
Exactly.
And Ernie's in Bakersfield.
And that lesson's got to come at some point in life. You want to get these kids playing and stuff, but at some point there is the business to these things that you got to learn. I do want to get to this text from Tube Socks. 780-218-9999 Parish Jewelers inbox. I got a problem with the BCHL continually being referred to as quote unquote rogue, outlaw, or unsanctioned league rather than what it is, an independent league. Consistently referred to it as a negative entity makes it sound like it's some sort of prison rules hockey. It's no different than leagues from the US PHL that separated from US hockey a few years ago. So Tube Sock's just saying like
great point, right?
I agree, but they use those words to make it sound awful so that people don't go there.
Right.
Well,
it's about control. That's why that
the narrative came from Hockey Canada, and everyone in hockey that, like, for me, I don't follow all these leagues that closely, so you kind of look towards the top to go, well, what's going on here? And if they go, these are rogue people, you kind of go, oh, they're rogue, and you just think that's the way it goes.
Yeah, it makes you almost seem like you're an enemy, right? And it's which is funny. Like, I mean, I'm from here. I know lots of people here, and so, you know, if I'm part of the Hockey Canada, you know, organization and sanction, and all of a sudden you're a perfectly fine person, but then all of a sudden you're rogue, and it's like, well, I don't want to talk to you. Well, why? My views haven't changed, right? Like, I had some guy on Twitter was chirping me, being like, well, he's like, is Belsey going to be whining for the next 50 minutes about Hockey Canada? Like, I didn't whine once. I'm just telling you facts. My stance since I retired from professional hockey has been the exact same stance. I'm here and I do what I do for the kids because I want kids to have the same opportunities that I was afforded. Pure and simple. So whether I'm on the sanctioned side or the unsanctioned side, I haven't changed what my attitude towards hockey is, and my I guess my displeasure with the sport since I retired and what I've come back to seeing in minor hockey has not changed. Like, I'll tell you this, when I worked for a team that was sanctioned in minor hockey, I got laughed off the phone by a parent. Why? Because basically by the time I finished talking to him, I was asking him to pay $45,000. I got laughed off the phone. And I hung up the phone and was like, well, that sucks to get laughed at. But actually, I kind of agree with him because, hey, my sticker price was $34,000. Then I said, oh, yeah, by the way, you have a $7,000 billet fee. And then I said, oh, yeah, by the way, you have to pay $8,000 because you're actually from BC and there's like a transfer fee, which we talked about, right? So you can pay a transfer fee to get you across that border before you're, you know, if you're under the age of 18. Yeah, I wouldn't pay that either. So yeah, I got laughed off the phone, and then I had to really think about that. And I'm like, well, what are we doing here? Because now this kid doesn't have an opportunity to play.
Well, he does.
Well, he does, but just he's not going to get noticed.
Players will always get noticed, though.
That's what we all say. But that's what we all say.
That, I think, stands for like the Connor McDavids of the world. We'll always find the guys that are at the very top. We'll find the
scouting has never been lazier, ever.
But finding the player that's going to be a career AHLer, let's say, even, I don't think we'll always find those. I think you have to go find those, and that player that doesn't get the opportunity won't find them. But I think the NHLer, we'll always find the top end NHLer. They stand out above everyone else.
It's about trying to find those.
Everything else, I think that's one where you have to. They have to get those playing, and we have to give them the opportunity.
And that's exactly why I think now with the AJHL, you have to commit to those 11 teams. Try to get a 12th team in there and commit to all these players that are falling under the cracks, right? Like they're falling through them. So commit to those guys. KI, you guys commit to those guys and have this league where now there's more kids leaving minor hockey and they're going to play junior because there is guys that are gems that maybe just need 1 or 2 more years before they really explode onto the scene. Right now, in today's landscape or yesterday's landscape, it wasn't happening. Right? Like if you think about where you're at as an 18-year-old kid, right? And all of a sudden you got to now make this decision of, well, my hockey career is done at 18. I'm no longer in the sport. So if you have a bad time or experience, well, you're not staying in hockey any longer. At 20 years old is when you have to make the choice of, can I be a professional player or do I need to go to school? Well, how many people are really making that life choice that early?
How many people just in every walk of life have to go quote unquote find themselves or go backpacking through Europe or take one class in school and then go, I need to bounce to something else because this isn't for me. And it's not till your mid-20s till you figure out what you want to do.
Exactly. So these kids are having to make these life-changing decisions or they're having these massive things that are impacting how they view certain things happen at such an early age. Like, to me, why can't we create another level where maybe it's a college level, maybe it's like a U21 collegiate league, right? Like, we got our junior B, sure. Like, junior B is for guys that are like, I don't really care to play, blah, blah, blah.
Not my team when I was there, but
8-time champs.
Yeah.
8-time champs.
But then
yeah.
is there not a way that we can prolong this to 21? And I don't mean junior hockey players, because junior hockey is always going to exist, but there's another level of player that can maybe sit in between the junior level and then what this U18 level is that want to go to school.
Here's what I'll say is the disappointment I have in Hockey Canada, I guess, right now. And even the guy that came at you going, just whining about Hockey Canada, it's just like believing Hockey Canada, whatever they're saying.
Yeah.
This should now be a moment where there's a full, I don't know if resets the question, but a full sit down of and conversations and inward looking and looking at everything and going, okay, something's not right here, because we had this league in BC that said it's not good and they've left.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden 5 teams in Alberta said, you're not the solution, Hockey Canada. We can't be part of this anymore. Mm-hmm. And instead of just going, okay, well, actually, no, we should actually probably look and fix problems that are within this, going, oh, no, can't play. Like, and just immediately trying to, what we're doing is good. What we're doing is perfect. And not going, well, no, anything you do, you always got to constantly be reinventing and growing and finding different ways to do things with the world. And it doesn't seem like Hockey Canada is doing that right now. And there's too many people within Hockey Canada that are just like, no, we're fine with as it is. And it's like, well, no, we're not.
So maybe we Hockey Canada just go through a big upheaval of the entire organization?
But that's not because of this.
Right, because of that. Yeah. But now all these new people are in the organization and they still have the old school mentality and they didn't want to change.
I could go with Canada Soccer and stuff too. It's just there's a lot of issues with that. The former president goes. The person that was put in is connected to one of the past presidents. Like, there's always the finger, the handprints are still there from others. And it's... like, this is where, and I'm not trying to get political here. I don't care who's in charge. But you almost need the governments to kind of step in and, like, reset it and put independent people in place to hire the new people. To go, no, we need a clean sweep of this. Yeah. Here, you go. We need this group, this committee. You guys hire these new people because we don't want the fingerprints or handprints from anyone in the past.
The problem is that
or you need some sort of body
focus watching here in Alberta on the independent leagues, and we judge those people. But at the end of the day, like, Chris Versteeg and Eric Lindros have a league out in Ontario, Quebec, that's getting bigger and bigger. It's called the Clever Hockey League. So we're sitting here saying, well, hey, in Alberta, the HSL lives and the JPHL lives, but guys, there's one in BC. It's called the HPL. It's getting bigger every single year. Clever is happening in Ontario and Quebec. It's getting bigger every single year. Yeah. So these things are happening and more people are doing it. They're becoming independent. Why? Because they feel that hockey has tons of politics. If we can avoid the politics, awesome. That's the number one issue. The amount of money that we're paying in the sport is getting crazy. So if there's a way that we can not do that and still be able to play the sport, let's go figure out how to do that. So this isn't something that's just, specific to Alberta, because they have the HSL and they have the JPHL, and I know that stuff becomes controversial, depending on who you talk to. But these things it's not just happening here in Alberta, it's happening everywhere.
Kevin in the Nasty Chat has an interesting point that I don't know the answer to this, so I'll trust you guys. And especially Bells, just because you're so close to all this. Because of all these leagues and options, hockey's no longer best on best for these players. The talent is spread thin across different streams. It's hurting kids more than helping.
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
I don't either.
Right? And I agree. But the problem and the reason why those leagues are popping up is because of the money. So we've already talked about the whole northeast zone of the city not playing hockey, and they're new people to Canada. They're immigrants to Canada. Well, isn't that what the NHL's mantra is? Like, let's grow the game.
Yeah.
Well, we're not growing the game up there in our own city because it's too expensive. So if the options are coming out and they're more affordable, so yeah, I agree with you. But at the same time, we got to do something about the dollars and cents. Families you can't ask a family to pay $45,000 to play the sport. You can't ask a family to bring out a second mortgage on their home so they can play the sport. You can't ask a family to take out a loan so that they can play the sport. Well, now what happens if you have 2 kids and you're at one of those programs?
So there's 2 sides of this too, because you're talking entry level, like with that Northeast zone and immigrant and all that. I mean, it's the same thing. I got a 5-year-old kid, and we put him in hockey this year. Him and skating don't seem to get along. He loves hockey, so we're going to put him in ball hockey next year and see if maybe circle back to it if he can figure out how to skate. But now there's a bigger difference, and I think maybe this is where that texture is going, is what happens when you are a little older and you're developing and you have some skills and some talents. I mean, those choices of where you can go and why you should go and how you should go and the money that's involved can then get absolutely outrageous. In the beginning, there's ways that you can get into the sport relatively cheap, and I think the Oilers do a great job of it and helping get kids in the equipment,
play for kids, kids sport, all these
programs.
Yep.
So there's opportunities there for the entry level, but it's when you get a little more advanced and you have some skill and some talent, where do you go? How do you get there? What does that look like dollars and cents wise? That's where it gets all convoluted and difficult. And I think that's where maybe Shawn Belle needs to run Hockey Canada or people like, I mean, there need to be people that Hockey Canada is a big organization, and there's so many different scopes that we're seeing, and it's being so public right now for many different reasons. But my goodness, does they ever need a reset and we get this figured out?
Here's something for you. So tell me if this makes sense, because I don't like this one either. I'm a hockey team, okay? My sticker price is $34,000. I know that I need to get good players, and the good players I'm going to give a massive discount to. So I create a formula where my top 2 lines, my first line, you're going to get X amount off your price. Line 2, you're going to get X amount off your price. Line 3, you're going to get X amount off your price. Line 4,
you're paying more.
Full pop.
Oh boy, that doesn't sound right.
It sounds like you're paying your way on. If you're not good enough, you could pay your way onto a team for a fourth line.
That sounds like this politics stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens lots.
So
is that helping our sport, or is that hurting our sport?
I would say that's also just something that would happen across the board, because NCAA, you're a star quarterback, you're getting your scholarship.
That's at the NCAA level.
Right, but then as you go lower on that team, there's a couple guys that don't have scholarships, right?
But that's at the NCAA level, not at the U18 level or lower. So we're talking about, how do we fix the sport? How do we make things more accessible? The last thing you should do, and this is just my opinion, is that at a U18, let's just call it U15 level, so these kids are 13, 14. There's no chance in this world that you should create that kind of hierarchy where now when you sit in the locker room and you say, well, I'm the $34,000 player and I'm going to play the least amount, you've just created a hierarchy where now these guys are the big dogs. They're the only ones that run the team.
Yeah, the culture of that team is horrendous.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're not. Yeah, and the other piece of that too is, now what happens if the sticker price is $34,000 and you have some dad that comes along and says, "Geez, you know what? I'll give you $100,000. My kid's probably the fourth line guy, but I want him on the first line. But I'll give you $100,000." Yeah, like change of sports. But I know a friend of mine. His sister plays University of Buffalo in fastball. Her boyfriend was the starting quarterback at University of Buffalo, and his backup quarterback has a really rich dad, and he only had one more year of eligibility, so they redshirted the starting quarterback, the boyfriend of the first guy, for the last year. He's going to be the starting quarterback again next year, but they redshirted him because of the donation that was given by the dad, so the other guy could be a starting quarterback for a year in college football before his eligibility ran out.
Yep. There's a Calgary St. Peter's quarterback who got starting the game because his dad owned the team. I forgot what his name was. It was, I think, the owner of Sport Checks or something. It was the Frisani Group.
Oh boy.
No, I think it was a guy.
Maybe someone else.
After that, I'm going to forget his name.
Started with an F, I think, or something. And he ended up being on the roster. I think he had to start a game because there was injuries or something. It's the only time I've seen in professional sports.
Yeah,
Dad owned the team and he got. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. F1. Lance Stroll's on a team because his dad owns it.
But the politics in all sports will never.
It'll
change.
never disappear. But
answer to all the world's questions is money. And you could want to get to the essence of the sport. You want to get to the beauty of the sport, but then eventually, at some point, someone's going to come back to you about the dollars and cents and
100%.
making it work money wise. And somebody's will come with more money and flash more, whatever it is, and money's always going to talk. It's the way the world works.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
This Sunday, be sure to join us at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for the Super Bowls. The Chiefs will take on the 49ers. The EST crew will be there. You'll have a chance to win some EST merch, a spot on the Hangout, and more. Plus, the 6 o'clock lager is in stock. All there for the big game. Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge on 4 Road. Renee, who was on the Hangout last week, she has a bunch of things planned to give away as well. That's coming up this Sunday. Chiefs, 49ers. Can the 49ers knock them off?
They're the favorites, aren't they? Aren't they 3-point favorites?
Let me take a look who the favorites are.
Do you bet against Patty Mahomes?
I wouldn't.
You can't.
I still owe you beer, by the way.
Yeah.
He's drinking one right now. Pre-Vegas drink.
Exactly. He's getting ready to go.
The 49ers
his
are
tearaways.
2-point favorites.
2-point favorites.
2-point favorites?
According to Coolbet. Coolbet.com. If you're looking to get on the
I'm
action.
not a gambler,
Do they have
but
the
I'm
props
betting on the
already?
49ers. Or sorry, on KC if I'm betting.
Yeah.
Do we have the full props on?
I would agree with that.
I like
The quarterback,
Mahomes,
if you
Brock
look at
Purdy.
like from a 49er or from a defensive perspective, who's the better defense? Because everybody says that KC's defense is the best that they've had in the Patty Mahomes era. So clearly they're pretty good, but obviously the San Francisco 49ers are built defense first.
Yeah.
So who's got the edge there?
I mean, the weapons that San Fran has, though, with McCaffrey and Debo, and they got a lot of weapons. Probably out-weapon KC, but
For sure they do.
they don't have Patrick Mahomes taking the snaps.
I've been saying that all year. The entire season, it was who's going to win the AFC. As good as the Ravens had been at times, as much as I was scared of the Bills, I always went back to it's KC. You got to look at KC because they have Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And until they lose, I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes.
And Kelsey. It's the best duo.
Kelsey,
it's the best duo.
But it's the quarterback more for me because
100%.
it was Tom Brady was the one that you just never bet against Tom Brady. And then when he went to the Super Bowl with the Bucs against Patty Mahomes, I love Tom Brady. He's great, but Patty Mahomes, like, this is the Chiefs. You know, they look at all the weapons they have.
Yeah,
and who won that Super Bowl?
They're the new Patriots.
Bet against Tom Brady, and I lost. Yeah. And it's like Patty Mahomes, even though he lost that one game. Now he's that new guy now where it's you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes in anything. Like
I agree with you.
I would rather go down saying, the Chiefs are going to win this game. They're absolutely going to win. Patrick Mahomes, the MVP, and the 49ers win, and I have to come on Monday and be like, I was wrong. Because it's better than going on Monday going, man, I bet against Patrick Mahomes yet again. After everything he's done, I went against him, and man, was I wrong.
It was that one time.
I thought this was that one. This was going to be it. Like, it's just until I see him lose, he's going to find a way to get it done. That's just what he does. That's what Andy Reid does with him. That's what Travis Kelce does with him. They step up in the moment when it's necessary, and they go in that football.
Well, the crazy part to me, too, is like you look at the game against Baltimore, and Kelce goes absolutely off. It's like, well, they've only got one option. It's Kelce. He's the only sure-handed option. Like, they're not even playing Tony to the point where Tony came out on social media and was like, I'm not injured.
Yeah.
So you've got one option if you're the Chiefs. The problem is that Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Is Andy Reid the new Belichick
he does an
too, right?
Unbelievable job of scheming, creating all sorts of motions to throw you off the scent. It's like smoke and mirrors. It might be the most basic play, but because there's so much motion on every single snap, well, it's a 5-yard and out to Kelce, and all of a sudden it goes off for 25. Well, because A, the defense has got a spy on Mahomes, so they're actually not using that one extra defender to cover somebody. And then B, they maybe put everybody out to the left, and then Kelce just rolls out to the right on a one-on-one that shouldn't be a one-on-one, and then all of a sudden gone.
Yeah. He's not going to lose many one-on-ones. No.
Reid, he'll never be Belichick. He'll never be better because He'll always just be behind him for me because he went to 4 NFC Championship games in a row in the Belichick start of his era, in a sense, with the Patriots, and he lost to Bill and when Bill was winning those Super Bowls, and now he's winning, and it's just I don't think he could ever catch up to Bill.
Okay,
but he's going to go down now. Like he's proven himself that he's one of the greatest coaches we've ever seen.
Here's my question for both of you. Bill Belichick was just a free agent as a coach with 9 job openings. If Mike Holmgren was a free agent right now, at the beginning of this phase, Mike Holmgren's getting offered every one of those jobs. Bill Belichick didn't get one of them. Why?
I think it's a few reasons. Something went wrong with Atlanta. It looked like that's where he was going.
Probably he wanted too much control, maybe.
And there's like a CEO there that pushed back against that, and that caused the issues. I think part of this is Bill, at his age, isn't just going to take any job. He needs a job that is closer to winning now.
Yeah, is Atlanta that though? I don't like.
They have some pieces there. They're a quarterback away, which is not good for Bill because he needs the quarterback.
Yeah.
But it was them or the Chargers. That was it. Everyone else, it's a long rebuild. So I think for Bill, even there was a sense of there's only a couple of teams he would look at. And the rest of the teams didn't even want to waste their time with Bill because Bill was going to go or got the word that he's not considering you. He would never consider you.
Yeah.
So if you're the Chargers, then why wouldn't you go after him? Because he's clearly...
Because you got a younger coach, I could see potentially in Jim Harbaugh.
Well, he's older. He hasn't had a lot of success in the last few years, and the coaches that seem to be the ones that are the most successful right now are those young and up-and-comers, and they just see the game in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they resonate with the players way more.
And so I'm wondering if, as great as he is, best coach that ever lived, has the game started to pass him by a little bit?
Has there ever been a Patriot that's come out and said, "Man, the culture in New England was outstanding"? Or do they say
yes? I think over the time the Patriots way was always amazing, and there was.
Or do they say it's because they win consistently that nobody could come in and be outside of the Patriots way? So like I've
only heard good things of the Patriots way, which is the culture.
I know what you're saying in the sense that like, hey, there's nobody that's come out and ever was like, they've never shot it down. But I've never heard somebody come out and be like, man, that was the greatest experience of my life. I've never heard that. Yeah. Even if you look at like Teddy Bridges, if you go back to like Mayo, if you look at even Randy Moss, none of those guys have ever said this was the greatest time of my life. They said it's the Patriots way. So what is the Patriots way?
Winning. Was winning, which is what is most important. The other part to that is many times throughout his career in those player polls, Bill Belichick's voted both the coach players most want to play for and least want to play for. Like
it's most want to play for because they want to win.
Yeah. It's a love-hate thing. Like you're going there to win. You're not going there to have fun as much. I think the thing with Bill Belichick is a GM, he failed the head coach Bill Belichick. I think head coach Bill Belichick could absolutely still win now, and that's maybe why the power came into this.
Can't give him control because
can't give him full control.
Yeah, you need to have someone else that's picking the roster, and he work with.
Yep, I think there'll be a few teams next year that'll be kicking themselves in the pants for not having looked at Belichick a little more right now. Belichick, if you're Belichick, you sit out this year. And you find that right situation. There's going to be the Cowboys might open up next year.
Yeah, there's a lame duck coach in Dallas, and that roster. Oh my God!
Hell, even during the season.
Well, sure.
You know, if Mike McCarthy gets off to a 2-2 start or something that Jerry Jones is not happy with.
Yeah,
Jerry Jones has even said this is an all-in year.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know why it hasn't been, but like this year really is big. If you're Bill Belichick, you might sit there and go, okay, well, if I'm Jerry Jones, even. Team's already built.
Yeah, it's built.
He can't touch it in terms of mid-season. If I get off to a rough start, Belichick's just sitting on ESPN or wherever it is. I just go, hey, Bill, you want to take over this team for this year?
Yeah, that conversation has probably already happened.
Are they a coach away or are they a quarterback away? Because if you look at all the different
Cowboys,
if you look at all the different talking heads,
tell you coach.
Sure, but if you listen to all the talking heads down in the States, whether they're players or analysts or whatever that has to be, they put a lot of the blame on Dak.
Well, Dak should win the MVP this year, though.
No, it's Lamar's.
Pardon. Go look at their stats. and tell me how in the world Lamar's stats are better than Dak Prescott's stats. Dak Prescott's stats are better across the board. Everything.
Running?
Go look at the stats, and look at the stats and tell me how in the world Lamar is even in the discussion with Dak for MVP. Well, you're looking at that. Here's my question on Belichick and the culture thing. Tell me a coach from the Bill Belichick system of coaches that have worked with him that have gone on to been successful head coaches.
They've mostly been failures.
Yep, exactly.
Which then also shows how good Bill is.
Is that what it shows?
To me, it does. Bill's such a great coach. That was him.
But is part of not being a great coach being able to develop and mentor the people around you to be successful and
No, you got the most out of them for what you need for your team.
Yeah, man.
Don't care about the other teams.
That's fascinating to me that I can't think of one coach that has gone on
the closest. Bill O'Brien did well at Penn State. He took a program that was in disaster after everything that went down with Sandowski and
so anybody could have come into that program at that time and taken it to another level. You don't think so?
No,
because
that
when
was
you're
a tough time to do that. That could have been at a program that just went down. No, they didn't. Like they didn't start down. Like there was off-field things that was at the bottom.
Right.
Field, it could have.
But they had punishments
Bill brought them
and
up.
everything.
Bill brought them up. So Bill O'Brien gets a lot of credit for what happened at Penn State. He was okay with Texans. Brian Flores had the one really good year in Miami when he got fired.
Yeah,
that year.
But he was also the most toxic guy on the planet in Miami.
Yeah, but he had that was the next closest I would go to. That's about it.
Wow. I don't know. I think that just speaks to what.
But that was my point. Is like everybody talks about the Patriots way, and they say, okay, the Patriots way is you come in, you fall in line, you're a spoke on the wheel. You don't go out and you don't celebrate and you don't do this. You don't act out of this.
Yeah.
It's almost like Lou Lamoriello and you need to be clean cut, haircut.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing, same kind of idea. Because I'm not sure I've ever heard of a player that was like, man, that was such an awesome experience. But they say they win.
Yeah. So this is reminding me hearing you talk. I really tight with Danny Kepley and the old Eskimo way and things like that, and all the championships they won. Like Danny Kepley, when he became a coach, I mean, it was different because like he would get mad at his players if they celebrated a sack.
Yeah,
what are you celebrating and jumping up and down for? That's your job. Why are you celebrating?
Act like you've been there before mentality.
Yeah, exactly. And and if you're gonna do something like that, if you take a penalty or you miss a block, you better be up standing there and going, "Look at me! I'm the guy that screwed up." I mean, that was what he would tell his players, and because he wanted them to act and behave in a certain way and do things the Eskimo way, and the way you're it makes so much sense. But they were successful, but. Boy, there's so much structure and just no fun. Like
there's no fun.
Yeah,
you have to have a certain player that can embrace that,
right?
And like that, like it's funny. So it's kind of relevant, but so last night we played. My U18 played. My team played, and we laid an egg. We were awful, and we played this team, Calgary team, 6 or 7 times, and we've won most of them. And so
suck at Calgary. Any chance I get to say that, I'm going to take it.
So our guys are walking down the hall, and Calgary's coming off, and we had to go by them in their dressing room to get to our dressing room. And so they were just hooting and hollering, right? Like they're giving it to some of our players, and I was kind of at the end of the hall, and I'm like, you know what, well deserved. You know what, some of our guys need to eat some humble pie. And so then as my players went to the dressing room, theirs were finally in their dressing room. Their coach walks down. I can hear them talking. And he goes, yeah, man, way to poke the bear. That's probably the dumbest thing. Why would you celebrate in their faces? We've barely beaten them all year. And I was like, interesting comment. And then his assistant was like, yeah, I agree, but it's pretty hard to tell these guys not to celebrate. You like that excitement. You like that attitude. And it got me thinking because I was like, in one breath, as the opposing coach, I'm like, terrible idea to do that to our guys.
Yes,
because we've destroyed you guys all year.
Yeah.
In another breath, I'm like, well, I like the fact that you guys gave us humble pie. We didn't play well, And you guys deserve to be happy.
You reached the top of the mountain.
100%. Yeah.
They're pissed off that you guys beat them so much, and then they finally beat you, and it feels like, we that's what we wanted to do.
So it's similar to this Patriots way thing, right? Because now that conversation goes, I understand where the head coach was coming from in the sense that don't poke the bear, because when you spit into the wind, that spit always comes back.
And that's where, also why I think Bill didn't get a job this year is that there weren't a lot of teams that are ready for that. There's only certain teams, and that's where I go with the Cowboys are a spot maybe next year, because it's win now. It's not about having fun at that point anymore.
Yeah.
It's the team now, it's just the fun's done. We need to go win a Super Bowl. The other team I'll throw out there is the Buffalo Bills. If things don't go well next year for the Bills in terms of going to a Super Bowl or getting there, and you're sitting there and you're looking at Sean McDermott and you're going, this guy just maybe can't get it done.
Yeah.
Man, there's a guy that was in this division who knows the Colts.
The team is good.
We got a quarterback in Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Do we bring a little bit of...
Aren't they? You're going to be in cap trouble, though?
This year, they have a lot of... Them and the Ravens have a lot of issues that are going to come up with the cap.
I mean, the cap in the NFL is not really real.
No, but it can absolutely mess.
There's a day of reckoning somewhere, but
you have
can
to
push
your
it down
players,
as far as you really want it to be pushed.
You got to move players around, and can you bring in the right players? But that's the one where, there's a couple spots where that's what Bill needs. Is where it's the team that sits there and goes, okay, we're not here for fun right now this season.
It's time to win.
We're focused on the win. And we can deal with the fun after. And Bill's only going because how many more years of coaching has he got left? 4 or 5 maybe at most type thing. So he's not going to go into a rebuild. He's not going to go take a commander's gig, which got to build it back up. He wants to try to win now because he's also trying to set a record. Which most wins all time. So he needs a team that can win in the regular season.
And his legacy is kind of getting questioned with the fact that Tom Brady was able to leave that system and win, and he hasn't been able to win.
And to me, I don't think he needs. I don't think he needs a Super Bowl win. I think he needs at most the championship, like an AFC, NFC championship appearance. Show that you can still win a couple games in the playoffs. It's hard to get to a Super Bowl win.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah,
and it's.
Especially with that NFL script, right?
And you were talking about Andy Reid. Andy Reid's doing it with Patrick Mahomes. No matter what, you're only going to win with a great quarterback. It's just the nature of the business. It's very rare you get the Trent Dilfers winning Super Bowls, and that's only because you have one of the greatest defenses on the field. I'm not shocked Bill didn't get a job this year.
Yeah,
I was a little shocked.
I was too, but
I thought it was going to be Atlanta, and maybe that's what it was. Everyone thought it was Atlanta, and when it broke apart, everyone had already started focusing on different things. Maybe he'll become a defensive coordinator for a year.
Maybe Bill needs there too. How about Bill Belichick, DC and Dallas, looking over McCarthy's
Bill
shoulder
wants
every
to just
day.
take a look. Bill wants some stuff off his plate.
I'm coming for your job.
So
that's a terrible decision. I'm coming for your job.
So I got to tell you a story. You were talking about that. So I was a GM of a junior hockey team for 11 years. Won the 8 championships in 11 years. But
I kept saying 6 last year.
Whoa, settle down. So, okay, 1 year. Medicine Hat was our big competitor team that was really doing well. And, you look in the NFL right now, San Francisco lost 3 in a row earlier this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, KC had their ups and downs. And, sometimes you lay an egg. Good teams lay an egg for whatever reason. So we had a regular season game against them, and we got smoked. I want to say it was 10-1. We lost a regular season game. And, boy, then the newspaper, the Medicine Hat News, they had all these quotes from their players. Yeah, we showed them who the big dog is, and all this, a bazillion quotes, just basically saying that they're the team, we're nothing, and da. So come playoff time, when we played them in the playoffs, I had that article blown up. I had everything highlighted, and it was in our dressing room every day. I read those comments to our players every day. This is what these guys think of them and think of us. Who won that playoff series? And that big thing that was all done up and everything like that, it just so happened to end up underneath their dressing room door after the series.
That's called gamesmanship.
So there you go. I think.
But now they posted that up, and then next year they came.
And I think I even wrote on it, "Thanks for the ammo," and put it under their dressing room door when they were all wallowing in their pity of losing.
A moment where it's like, I'm going to show that
we've had that in the AHL for sure. The AHL has definitely done that.
Yeah.
There's been teams that have like left the lineup and what they say about the players on the board on purpose. That stuff happens at the minor levels for sure. The NHL doesn't happen. They're too smart and they're too like, don't say anything that will spark anything.
Yeah.
That's why the NHL is the most boring league in the world. Don't say anything.
Full of cliches, yeah.
Don't you say anything.
Except what I've learned from Michael Jordan is you don't have to say anything and someone could just create something in their mind.
100%.
Yeah, which is,
Yeah.
I still love that he just made things up to destroy someone.
Yeah, which is awesome. But like that guy was on another level.
Yeah.
And that's the reason.
He's so
he
good.
could create he could do what he needed to get to that next level.
I would almost just like to see hockey say, like, let's just pull back that and be like, you say what you need to say. Like Sean Avery. Remember Sean Avery?
Oh,
like,
yes.
He was must-see TV like for probably about 2 years.
Yeah.
Because you knew that at any point Sean Avery was going to say something, and that guy's still super popular today because of that.
Yeah.
The thing that hurt him for that was the dumb comment with Alicia Cuthbert and all that.
Yeah.
That's where it's like, dude, you crossed the line there. No.
Yeah.
But beyond that, like he was, like even on the ice, him looking at Martin Brodeur to screen him.
That was so funny.
Was just like, what are you doing? But this is also kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
You know?
There was a story that I'd heard. He was playing for the Red Wings, and they were playing against the Avalanche, and he started chirping Joe Sakic. Like he was standing up chirping Joe Sakic, and Brett Hull kind of tugs on his jersey, goes, "Hey, sit down. We don't chirp Mr. Sakic."
Wow.
Like, oh, okay. Like, that's good.
I love Joe Sakic.
Yeah, he was so good.
Him and Stevie Y are my favorite.
Yeah,
Classy.
yeah.
But
Well, Gager told me just like the nicest guy too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which just makes me happy.
yeah.
For sure.
I didn't want to hear Joe Sakic.
yeah,
Dick. I was gonna be like, oh, it's actually like I've said this before. It's one of the reasons I wanted the Avs to win the cup a couple years ago. I know it came at the cost of the Oilers, but like the fact that they ultimately won it because it couldn't be the Oilers though.
And that it was Joe Sakic
It was Joe
coming
Sakic
back.
building it for them. And I was like, I'm happy Joe won that ring
They're
too.
they're like very reminiscent of the yesteryear Avs. Like if you think about what those teams looked like and what you looked at, like with what the Avs looked like when they won the Stanley Cup, very similar.
Would you put Yzerman in that same breath? Him and Sakic, two peas in a pod, kind of, hey? Yeah.
Will forever be connected because of the rivalry of Detroit, Colorado.
Yeah, for sure.
Great captains, both wore 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just admired the hell. For me, those are my two favorite players growing up.
They're
Straight up.
unbelievable.
Now throw a third 19 in there, Jonathan Taves. Like those are three just best leaders ever.
And Stevie Y helped build the majority of the Lightning that won them.
Sure.
100%.
Yeah.
And
Like,
he's
the
building
credit.
Detroit back
And they are
to promise.
Boy,
Like,
Just an amazing, just amazing minds that the two of
This
them.
offseason with Detroit, though, they signed so many free agents, and I'm just thinking, like, how many pieces of you throw something at the wall and something's going to stick, right? And I'm like, what is he doing? And then all of a sudden, now he knew what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
He's
Slower build in Detroit than Tampa.
they were further behind, though.
But they didn't have
absolutely.
Stamkos.
They didn't have Stamkos.
Yeah, right.
Like they were just starting to build that.
Sakic with the Avs, there was a point where it looked like he was a disaster.
Well-
there was a moment where I remember I found the article a few years ago where somebody wrote he should be fired type thing.
Yeah, but the day that changed everything is
Coaching
when
change?
he didn't trade Duchesne for nothing.
Oh, he
Straight
destroyed that
for
deal.
unbelievable.
He held
yeah.
on to him,
And-
he held on to him, he held on to him. Then all of a sudden, what was it? It was Nashville and it was Ottawa, and boom,
Just
that brought in so many pieces.
Yeah.
and you're like,
And good pieces.
and unbelievable pieces, and you're like, whoa. And then he made the trade for Taves. And so, like, why I say it was
two
very
second-round picks, too,
Yeah,
is
and
that's
why
it?
I said it was like very similar is because they had what Bork, Foote, Blake, three legitimate defensemen, McCarr, Byram, and Taves, and you could actually throw in Girard if you want to. Four legitimate defensemen,
Stud defenseman.
studs.
Yeah.
Now they're not the same as those other guys, right? Because like Foote was a destroyer, Blake was a destroyer, but these other guys are like, whoa, very similar. High end guys, McKinnon, Rantanen. Landeskog.
Man,
Like,
Duke was great.
Is Landeskog
Peter
going to come back in the
Forsberg,
playoffs?
Tangay,
I think he will.
Deadmarsh, Drury.
They were just great. The only thing that they don't have, like the other one, is that goalie. They don't have a patty wall.
They don't have a patty wall.
Yeah, fair.
But they've
Yeah.
this hockey nowadays. It doesn't seem like
How
you
many
need.
patty was is there out
There
there
are.
now?
There's
yeah.
not very many.
But well, how about Yzerman though? You look at getting DeBrincat,
Yep.
and look at what Ottawa paid Chicago for DeBrincat, and then what he paid Ottawa 1 year later for DeBrincat. What? And then asset management. How about Montreal? Sean Monahan get paid a first round draft pick to take him.
Yep.
And then get a first round draft pick to get rid of him. Like, how's that for schooling people in asset
unbelievable.
management?
Unbelievable.
We're off to Vegas today to watch the Oilers to try to tie a record. Do they do it?
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think they're just going to keep on rolling for a little bit here.
Hangout tomorrow, live from Park MGM in Vegas. It'll be myself, Tom, and I think Lieutenant Eric for the next few days doing the Hangout. As the EST crew will be down there for that. And then, like I said earlier, Super Bowl Sunday will be at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for the big game. Sean, Murray, thanks for coming in. This was a fun little chat we had today.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure.
Coming up next, it is the Lock Shop, Dusty and Huss. And then coming up at noon, no Tom Gazzola because he's still on the air. It will be Dusty and Joaquin Gage with the Oil Stream. As the Oilers, they were back on the ice yesterday with practice. They'll recap the All-Star weekend. McDavid winning $1 million, setting it up so he could win $1 million. And they'll look ahead to that game tomorrow against Vegas. Thanks for tuning into the EST Angle presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer on behalf of Sean Murray. Matt, thanks for tuning in. Lock Shop coming up in just a few minutes.